Okay, guys, welcome back to a new video here. So it's time to talk about what on earth is going on in Venezuela because all of a sudden, US warships are beginning to surround Venezuela, and you're getting very ominous sort of statements coming from US congressmen on the Armed Services Committee. And you have the Venezuelan military kind of mobilizing as if they're preparing for a potential invasion of US troops. Yet this is like barely getting talked about on US mainstream media, which is kind of bizarre considering we're looking at maybe a real possibility of some sort of invasion or airstrikes. I mean, it's time to discuss it, and that's why we're doing it right now because this is absolutely insane. So here's from News Nation. Tensions continue to rise between the United States and Venezuela amid President Trump's ongoing efforts to combat drug cartels in Latin America. The U.S. recently boosted its maritime forces in the waters of Venezuela and has more vessels expected to arrive next week. So they have a number of aircraft carriers, and we're going to show you some of the maps that we have of that. And it is wild. I mean, almost a significant portion of the Navy fleet is basically surrounding the country here. And U.S. defense officials confirmed to News Nation that 7 warships, a nuclear-powered submarine, and more than 4,500 Marine sailors are either in the region or on their way. This has prompted Venezuela to order 15,000 troops at the country's border for the approaching ships. So Venezuela is preparing for war here. I mean, let's just be totally clear. And sure, it could be a show of force to try and get Venezuela to capitulate in some of its drug smuggling ways, which there's no question, that Maduro engages in some sort of narco terrorism practices. But again, the idea that they're just deploying all these warships here to try and combat that, I just find that very hard to believe that they're just doing it for a show of force. I mean, people were saying that about Iran when the U.S. was deploying a bunch of their cruisers and aircraft carriers in the Middle East, but as we know, they eventually did attack. So this is from the White House regarding the deployment of troops. President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and bring those responsible to justice. And Venezuelan President Maduro has called the U.S. buildup a pretext for invasion on state television and social media. And enlistment drives are being promoted as proof of loyalty to the government, but opposition leaders say it is minimal. Okay, so that is the official story from News Nation. And as far as the Venezuelan reaction goes, and by the way, guys, before we go any further, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm, and it helps out the channel immensely. And if you want to become a member, hit the join button below, and Patreon is also below as well. We just hit 800 subscribers, so we're trying to get to 1,000. Hit that subscribe button, and I really appreciate all your guys' support. So, and the Venezuelan President Maduro here is saying that he would constitutionally declare Republican arms if the South American country were attacked by forces that the U.S. government has deployed into the Caribbean. Now, let's be clear. Do I expect a full U.S. invasion? I mean, I'm not ruling anything out because, I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, this is pretty wild stuff. But we could see potential airstrikes on regime targets here. And U.S. Secretary of State Rubio has been a known Venezuela hawk for a very long time here. And the Venezuelans are, of course, Russians, or excuse me, their allies, the Russians, the Chinese. And it could be a regime change operation. Of course, the United States has gotten involved in that in the past, but it would be pretty crazy for a president who campaigned against regime change to go into Venezuela with bombings. I mean, it would just be insane. I mean, it would be pretty wild stuff. But at this point, it seems like something is brewing here, which is why we're talking about it, because it's a big deal. The U.S. Navy has 2 guided missile destroyers, USS Gravely and the USS Jason Dunham in the Caribbean, as well as the destroyer USS Sampson and the cruiser USS Lake Erie in the waters of Latin America. So this is a show of force here. Is this really just to scare the Venezuelans and the Maduro regime? I find that a little hard to believe. And 3 amphibious assault ships, a force that encompasses more than 4,000 sailors and Marines, would be entering the region this week. So again, what do I expect? Well, I don't really know, but I'm expecting something. That's my official prediction. And look at this. This is just a map here of the U.S. Navy units in the Caribbean. I mean, this is wild stuff. I mean, look at this. You have 2 missile destroyers off the coast of Venezuela, and you have even more all across the Caribbean. It looks like they're heading towards Venezuela. So, I mean, this is just insane. I mean, I don't know what to expect, but it seems like we're getting to a head here. And for people saying, oh, it's just a show of force, you're just overreacting. Well, look at some Republican congressmen on the House Armed Services Committee who definitely has a lot more access to intelligence than you or me do. Look what he's saying about this. Our prayers are with the courageous men and women of our armed forces as they approach the coast of Venezuela. Okay, nothing too crazy, but you're praying for them. I mean, that's if you're expecting them to be engaged in some sort of combat operation, no? Okay, well, this is what he says yesterday. Dictator and this is a U.S. government representative who's very involved in this. dictator Nicolas Maduro's narco-terrorist drug cartel is about to get annihilated. This is a U.S. government representative, guys. America, Venezuela, and the entire hemisphere will benefit enormously from the destruction of the Cartel de los Soles. Okay, so what does that mean exactly? I mean, it sounds as if he's aware that something's going to happen. They're about to get annihilated. It seems to me that the United States is about to go in and bomb Venezuela. I think that, I mean, I don't know how you take that any other way. Sure, you can say, oh, maybe this guy doesn't have intel, but again, he's a Republican on the Armed Services Committee. You would think he has some sort of idea of what he's talking about here. Absolutely wild stuff. I mean, it really is shocking to me. This is not getting that much mainstream media coverage. I mean, seriously, I just think it's bizarre. Um, and again, the Maduro regime is basically saying, yeah, the goal is regime change here. And honestly, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they look to overthrow the Venezuelan regime and get in a more pro-Western ally there. And we all know how that's worked, guys. It has not worked in the past, and no one's defending the Maduro regime. And I'm not, as far as whether the goal would be to stop cartel smuggling and drug trafficking. I'm sure that's also a goal, but at the same time, it also, if they actually were to bomb Venezuela, I think the goal would clearly be to topple the regime. Let's be just totally honest, guys. And here we go. And just one more article here discussing this. Maduro claims U.S. seeks regime change through military threat amid Caribbean buildup here. Again, I don't know what the goal would be of just deploying forces, unless you're going to go in here. The military deployment was authorized by the president in an effort to disrupt drug cartel activity as part of his border policy. However, Maduro said the buildup is an intervention in his country's affair. In his affairs, they are seeking a regime change through military threat, he told journalists. And again, Maduro could also be looking to get a rally around the flag effect. Who knows? But one thing is for sure, something is absolutely brewing here in Venezuela. And I think we should get our answer relatively soon. But based on the rhetoric from some of these Congress people and the White House not ruling anything out, I think it's fair to say that there's a good chance we're going to see something big coming very soon. So we'll keep an eye on that. So let me know what you guys think of this video, guys. Agree with me? Will we see some sort of U.S. involvement in Venezuela, or is it just a show of force? So that's what I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great night. Again, make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm. And yeah, that's what I got. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.